When I say that this is a super watery moon, I mean like we are going to be drowning in the element of water for this new moon. Hola my beautiful lotus flowers, welcome back or welcome to my channel. If you're into nerding out on everything astrology, spirituality, and self-transformation, this is the community for you. Today we're talking all about the new moon in Cancer happening on July 17th, 2023. This is going to be a super watery moon. I have all my cute little notes prepared for you. As you can see, I left the tarot cards out that I pulled, and all the energy screams water, water, water. So if you're curious to know what that's all about, then please stay tuned for the reading. And at the very end, I will offer some advice. If you listen to the reading and you're not sure what to do with it, which happens to a lot of us, then I won't leave you hanging. Be sure you stay tuned to the end to watch my advice. As many of you may or may not know, the new moon is very much a time where it's good for us to kind of reassess our goals, visit our intentions, and maybe even set new intentions or new goals for ourselves that align with who we are. Whereas the full moon is more so a time of recognizing shadows that we may be holding on to, things that may be holding us back, and releasing those things so we can move forward with our lives come the new moon. Anytime that we have a new moon, the new moon is always going to be in the sign that the sun is currently moving through. So the sun is currently moving through the sign of Cancer. We are in Cancer season. Shout out to all my Cancers. We are in Cancer season. So that means that the new moon is automatically in Cancer. And what this also means is that the moon is currently conjunct the sun. So it means that the moon and the sun are very close together, and they're currently exchanging energy very strongly at the time of the new moon. So this means that our emotions, which are associated with the moon, and our soul, which is the sun, are both perfectly intertwined, and it's a really great time to hone in on what really aligns with our soul from a place of our intuition and our deeper emotions that we may not be as aware of other times outside of the new moon. Because we have more harmonious aspects happening instead of more challenging aspects, we're going to see a more synergistic relationship between our emotions and how we express our emotions, how we feel them, and how we're able to recognize what our emotions are telling us. So Cancer is one of the water signs. It's the cardinal water sign. So your emotions and what they're telling you are really going to correlate with what you truly want in this life. So let me expand on that theme. Whenever we deal with Cancer and the moon, we have a theme of coming home to ourselves. So we kind of need to revisit where we might have fallen out of alignment with what we truly want. And this was kind of a theme with the full moon in Capricorn as well, but this comes full circle even more with the Cancer new moon. It's kind of like a finalization of those feelings and giving you a more amplified look into what truly aligns with you. Home can mean many things for us. When we think of Cancer, we think of home. But home can be the home we have within ourselves, the connection we have with our emotions, the relationship we have with our body, which our body is our only true home in this lifetime if you really think about it. But it can also be your environmental home, the area you live in, the actual space that you reside, where you sleep at, the people that you consider home. All of these are going to be things that fall under the umbrella of what we consider home. So it might show up differently for all of us. Do with that what you will. You know what I'm talking about when I say home. You know for yourself what home refers to and what may be coming up at this time. Although the Cancer new moon is always going to have somewhat of a similar energy each year because we experience a Cancer new moon every year, the thing that really sets the energy apart are the other aspects that are happening at this time. And like I mentioned, we have the moon sextile Uranus, and then we also have the moon trine Neptune. With the moon having this relationship with Uranus at this time, we're really reevaluating what makes us unique, what gives us our light that nobody else has, because we each have our own unique way of shining in the world that no one else has. No one else is exactly like you. In correlation with the theme of coming home to ourselves and what home means for us, Uranus is really challenging us to look at things differently, look at our lives differently. What can we do differently? What is it in our home lives that we can do differently? Is there something with our bodies that we need to do differently or look at differently? Is there something with our families, our friends, with our home? Maybe you're going through a time where you're feeling like moving somewhere. But what this is really asking us to do is to step outside of our normal routines and really look at how those routines are fitting into our lives, because no matter what home means for you and no matter what theme is coming up for you when it comes to the idea of home, our daily routines are something that very much dictates our home life. So whether you're cleaning the space that you live in, whether you're cleansing yourself, whether you have a good hygiene routine, a good diet, a healthy lifestyle, how you interact with your loved ones on a daily basis, all of these things are part of our daily routine, and they play into our well-being and how in touch with ourselves we are, how in alignment with ourselves we are. And again, this Cancer new moon is really calling us home to ourselves, and really what that means, it's calling us back into alignment with who we are. With Uranus at play, the planet of rebellion and doing things differently and breaking out of the norm, we may be changing the way that we think about a lot of things. And this is going to lead to us getting on the right path for our well-being, for our happiness. But on top of this energy with Uranus, we have the moon trine Pluto as Pluto moves through Pisces. So this means that there's going to be a harmonious partnership going on between the moon and Neptune at this time. Whenever we have Neptune, the planet of the subconscious and illusions coming up, then there can be a lot of very powerful emotional energy, but manifestation energy as well. So we talked about you coming home to ourselves. I know I'm saying the word home so many times in this video. Just let it go. Don't tally it up, okay? I don't want to know how many times I say it in this video. We talked about the theme of coming home to ourselves, whatever that means for us. And the way that Uranus comes into play is maybe challenging us to think differently about what that means for us and how we can be more true to ourselves in our daily routines. But with Neptune and Pisces coming into play, emotions may be running high, so that is something to be aware of because the moon already deals with emotions. But Neptune being in Pisces and feeding that energy into the moon can really bring up a lot of emotional energy. But because it is a trine that's being formed, it's not as challenging as maybe like if it was square Neptune. So a lot of this emotional energy can be transmuted into very creative energy. It's likely that around this time, we're all going to be feeling a lot of inspiration to create something. Again, creation is a very vague word, a very vague umbrella that embodies a lot of different ways that it could show up for you in your life. Creation doesn't necessarily have to relate to creating like art pieces or anything like that. Although with Neptune and Pisces, that can be a huge theme. And even if you're not feeling particularly creative in an artistic sense, this is a great time to do something artistic. And all humans have an internal desire to create in some way. So taking time to express that desire, even if you feel like you draw lame stick figures and you're like, I'm not an artist, it's still fun to create. It is always like, I've never met one person that doesn't think that creating in some way is fun. So around this new moon, it can really help you to get in touch with your creativity, whatever that means for you. Cooking a new meal, painting something, dancing, doing something outside of the norm. Again, with that Uranus energy, doing things differently. How can you incorporate something different into your routine that will offer inspiration? With all of that good flowing, creative energy going, It is important to also point out that we do have Pluto coming into play around this time, and I know Pluto and Saturn can kind of seem like party poopers whenever they're coming into the picture and affecting the energy. And you know, I'm not going to say that it won't create some challenge, but we do have Pluto forming a loose opposition with the moon, as well as forming a sextile with Neptune at this time. But luckily, the sextile again is a more harmonious energy, whereas the opposition can be a little bit more challenging. But ultimately, what I'm picking up from this aspect and the energy around it is that because our emotions are really going to be running, and a lot of those emotions are going to be flowing to the surface, then Pluto might bring about a lot of hidden things that we didn't know even existed within ourselves. A lot of those things may very well be revealed through your subconscious. So dreams will be huge at this point in time, because again, it's Pluto sextile Neptune, so that energy is being fed through Neptune as well. And Neptune is the planet of illusions, dreams, the subconscious. So a lot of these shadows and a lot of these patterns that maybe need to be worked on or realigned are going to be coming through at this time, probably in subtle ways. So it's important to pay attention if we have any subconscious activity going on, if you notice any little triggers or that you don't usually have, or you do have a vivid dream, make sure you write it down. Spiritual practices and anything that aligns you with your subconscious and your intuition are going to be huge at this time, because you have all the watery planets activated strongly during this moon. You have the ruler of Cancer, which is the moon, moving through Cancer. So you have the new moon in Cancer. Then you have the new moon in Cancer interacting with Neptune as it moves through Pisces. If you don't know, Neptune rules over Pisces, so Neptune is the other watery planet. Then you have Pluto, which is the modern ruler of Scorpio. And you have Pluto interacting with Neptune and interacting with the moon. So all of the water planets are activated at this time. So any theme you can think of around water, the water element, is important at this time to getting back in touch with yourself, and can offer you a lot of intuitive insight. So inviting your spiritual practices back into your routine, inviting creativity back into your routine. Make sure you're taking time to move a bit slower and more peacefully, and taking time to rest. I know that may seem counterintuitive because new moons revolve around manifestation and setting intentions, but that is not separate from rest. A lot of times, creativity and inspiration come through resting. So I'm not saying that you need to just freeload during this moon, because again, we'll probably be feeling a lot of inspiration to move forward, because Cancer is a cardinal energy. It wants to initiate, it wants to get something moving. But taking things slower, the water signs tend to be slower energies. So taking things slower, making sure you have a lot of self-care time, a lot of time to be reflective alone, away from others. We may be easily impacted by others' energies during this moon because it's so watery, and the water element very much soaks up energy very easily. I decided to do a supplemental tarot pull to accompany this energy reading, and every single tarot card I pulled was a water element tarot card, which is insane. So that's why I said we were going to be drowning in the water element for this moon. So I pulled the Nine of Cups, the Moon, and the Knight of Cups. Pulling these cards really reinforced everything I talked about, but especially in terms of the way that we're going to channel inspiration at this time. A lot of those emotions, even if we feel more intensified emotions, if we feel tired and we need to rest, all the activities that we do around this time are going to be filled to the brim with inspiration if we allow it to be. If we continue to just go into our mundane routine and we just continue doing the same things that we always do, and we don't try to venture outside of our routines or do anything new, then most likely you're not going to gain much inspiration at this time. You're not going to really tap into that intentional energy around this moon. But if you do decide to tap into it, then there is extremely powerful energy around this moon for manifestation. Every new moon, like I mentioned, revolves around manifestation. But this moon is really, like I said, diving deep within into your subconscious and into your deeper emotions and really channeling those to the surface for you to look at. Although with this tarot reading, I was able to pick up the fact that everything's not as it seems. Again, that Plutonian energy kind of can make us feel a little bit confused. The Plutonian energy mixed with Neptune is going to bring a little bit of confusion and illusion maybe around our emotions, but that's why it's so important at this time to trust our instincts. Really look at what our instincts, our intuition, what our raw emotion is telling us, and be aware of second guessing yourself for any insecure thoughts around this time, because that's one of the only potentially like negative or challenging things that I channeled. Was there may be a lot of self-limiting doubts, creating an illusion of you not being able to do what you want to do. So if you listen to me talking about creativity and inspiration and rest and all of that, and you went, oh, I can't do that. Oh no, like that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about right there when I'm talking about the illusion of self-limiting beliefs and everything. So the Nine of Cups though, and the Knight of Cups really tied in everything with a very positive energy once again, because again, the energy around this moon in general is beautiful, just so beautiful. I'm getting nothing but inspiration just talking about it, to be honest. Just remember that the power around this time for you to do what you've always wanted to do is exponential. All of the wishes that you've been working towards, if you've been intentional with your time, with your energy, with your emotion, then your wishes can come true, and they will. If you've been going through an extremely rough patch, for a lot of you, those rough patches may be starting to come to an end, and the light at the end of the tunnel may be starting to show itself. But the only way that you can see the light at the end of the tunnel is to keep an attitude of gratitude. Be sure that you're maintaining gratitude around this time. This is one of my biggest pieces of advice for this moon, is to practice gratitude. So sitting down, maybe during the new moon or even the week leading up to it, after you see this video, instill a gratitude practice in your daily routine. And that's honestly something that you should continue on after the new moon passes as well. That's something I do on a daily basis, is express gratitude. And I often write down at least 3 things I'm grateful for, because no matter how bright the light is at the end of the tunnel, you're never going to see it if you don't appreciate what you already have. If you already recognize the light in your life, how are you going to recognize any other light? It's just not possible. So really instilling gratitude in your routine is essential. The Knight of Cups reinforced the fact that slow, calm, peaceful action and acting from the heart rather than overthinking, or again, those self-limiting doubts and letting yourself get caught up in your own illusions of what you can and can't do. Really just acting from the heart and acting from a place of intention and from your passions is going to get you wherever you want to go, wherever that may be. It doesn't have to be some huge lofty dreams that you've had or whatever, but it can be something as simple as spending more time with your loved ones. It can be something as simple as getting more rest in your daily routine. And those are things that your heart is calling you to do. Whatever your heart's calling you to do, this energy is asking you to really tap into that and take that seriously and stop second guessing it. Again, subconscious instincts and intuition are massive for this moon, and those will be the keys during this time to unlocking your greater path. What will make you feel more fulfilled? What will manifest the things you've always wanted to manifest? Because emotions are running high, just be aware of, again, self-limiting beliefs and rash decisions. Don't make rash decisions based on your emotion. Again, slow, calm, and peaceful movement around this time will keep you golden. If you enjoyed this new moon reading, please leave a like, a comment, and subscribe and hit the bell so I know that you want to see future readings just like this one. Let me know below if you are feeling a certain type of energy, if any of this aligns with you, or what you're feeling around this new moon if it's not something I mentioned. I definitely want to know. We all experience the energy differently, so I'm curious to know, how are you experiencing it? But until I see you in the next video, thank you so much for watching. I always appreciate you guys for being here, and I can't express my gratitude enough for every single one of you. If you haven't watched these videos already, be sure you go check them out now so you can learn even more for your astrological and spiritual journey. Until next time, adios.